Peter. Right. Hello, everyone. Today's June 11th, 2025. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. Oh, actually, let me share the screen. Oh, okay. I see Carl just joined. Okay, good. Then maybe we can actually talk about this. So, I think, yeah, okay. So now I see the meeting is being recorded, so we can actually get started. So first of all, you guys have any update for CBT?
Not on my side, Xing. Nothing
Okay.
actually done
Okay.
since.
So it's good actually we can actually talk about I have a topic about CBT. So Carl, I pinned you on Slack about this one, right? So we are reviewing the API and then there are some questions about the error codes. Right now there are like 3 error codes, right? All of this. So folks from my side, they actually only suggest a few more error codes. So I think this might be, I think this actually makes sense to me. Okay, so basically this is just how do you tell backup vendor, you know, how to react to those error codes when they get errors, right? Like when would be the time for them to say, hey, they maybe need to do a full backup. So those are a few error codes. Okay, let's maybe look at the original one just to let's just look at the original one. So we have invalid arguments, missing arguments should correct and resubmit the call, or not found. Yeah, those are all pretty regular or normal ones. And out of range, this is starting offset. So out of range, and uh, there's another out of range. So here this out of range says invalid starting offset. If the input parameter is out, I think this is kind of the same. Maybe this is just more. There is a starting offset, but it could also have like the parameters out of range, maybe not just the starting offset, right?
Well,
The parameter out of the range of this parameter.
yeah, we do have invalid args, right? That carries most of the other parameters.
Invalid args.
Invalid
So you're
argument.
saying the input parameter for the outer range of the this, okay, so this one
Because
say that this,
we have an
what does
explicit field called starting offset. So if you give a starting offset beyond the disk, right, then that's what outer range was.
okay, so you think this one should be, okay, this is one for the range of disk capacity. Okay, I'm not sure, maybe.
Yeah, that's
So you are saying this one it can be handled by invalid argument
that's what
instead?
it means. It means
This one?
yeah, so that's what it means. I mean, whatever you're suggesting, outer
Uh,
range
well,
is the
Oh,
same
that's
meaning.
incredible.
we already have out of range. So if you set a starting offset to 2 GB on a 1 GB volume, it's nonsensical, and you're just getting out of range error, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
I
the
guess
same.
so
It's
Carl
exactly
was
the
saying this
same. It's
one
just
should
worded
be invalid
differently.
argument. So which one is it? You two are saying two different things.
Look, Shing, it's the same thing. It's just worded differently. Your suggestion is just worded differently. It's the
But yeah,
same.
but they are saying this is out of range. Ben was actually saying this is out of range. You are saying this is, should be
Well, I'm reading the
okay.
document that you're sharing, and this is in the section of existing
So
existing error
okay,
codes,
exist
right?
error code. Yeah, exist error code. We have invalid argument, say missing or otherwise invalid argument indicated
Right.
was not specified or invalid. And then the other one is out of range. It looks like Carl want to use this one specifically for invalid starting offset.
That's right.
No, no, that these are
Saying
the ones that already exist.
this is exist. I would just so I was reading this one. I said we can add this one to
No, Shing, that's
this
the same
one.
thing, Shing. I mean, look, read what it says the input parameter for the query is
Out of
out. I
range.
mean, so the
It's out
input
of
parameter
range.
for the query is starting offset. It's the same thing.
Okay, so maybe we just need to enhance the wording of the existing error message, and the problem is solved for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually asked, yeah, this one is a little weird. Yeah, but it also sounds like, to me, also sounds like it both sounds like invalid arguments. But so I will, yeah, so I asked the guy to join, but I think time does not work there, like in
Yeah,
China.
what were the other suggested
So,
new
so
ones
let's
other
look at
than
this one. Yeah, I think this one is interesting actually. So this one basically says, so the CBT is not enabled. You should just do full backup instead
Yeah.
of.
So that one I get. This internal one I just do not buy because you can always
Okay,
return
hold on.
internal.
Let's before we move on to
Yeah.
the we just okay. So makes sense. I just want to make sure everybody agree.
Yeah.
Well, so
Makes sense?
is the idea here that it's legal to have a driver that supports CBT on some volumes but not others, and the way that you tell which volumes it's enabled on is left unspecified. You just have to try it and get an error and discover that it's not enabled. Is that what we're saying? Because
You
I don't
enable.
like I don't like having
Mhm.
features where like it might or might not work, and the only way to find out is to try it, because that really discourages end users from
That,
adopting the feature.
that is possible, right? CBT
Yeah.
has you have to enable it. If it's not enabled, it's going to fail, right?
Right, but like a
Mhm.
giant switch that says like all the volumes on this CSI driver are supported or they're not is much easier to
But you
pick, because then
still
you
need
can
to,
say like, okay,
right?
if I have a driver that supports CBT, I can depend on it being there. If the
You need
reality is
to.
the driver supports it and I still can't depend on it, then it's like,
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah. Driver can support it, but the underlying system has to. There is a way to enable, disable it.
Yeah.
Those are like separate things, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't know for sure.
I kind of agree with Xing on this, Ben. It's not saying that the driver can't support it. It's simply saying that the driver is unable to support it because something hasn't been set up for the driver to support.
right, but the thing that bothers me is how you fix that is totally undefined
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. How you
left out of
fix
the
it?
spec.
Yes,
So
how you
so
fix
like
it is
it,
not in the it
it
cannot be done by the calling application. Yes.
so if we think this is a normal situation that like some volumes can do CBT and some volumes can't do CBT, we should add something to our API that lets you ask, hey, does this volume support CBT? Yes, no.
Yeah.
Can I twiddle the bit through the
Yeah.
API and enable it?
Oh,
Like
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like all of that should
I
go into the
understand. I
API if this is a
understand.
common thing.
Yeah, and Ben, that was the approach I took. Xing, one thing I want to point out, there is nothing in the spec that says you cannot return these error codes, okay?
Yeah, no. It should be specified in the
Yeah.
spec.
So what you're arguing for is
Everything.
that the
Yeah, we need to change
interpretation of the
we
error
need to change
code.
the spec. Yeah, we need to change the spec to add this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you're arguing that the interpretation of the error code in the spec is going to add an interpretation for this error code, basically.
Yeah, I think we should add this one because this is a pretty
Yeah,
important.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. But it's understood that the application cannot do anything about it. This is
Yeah,
like
that I
yeah.
understand. I just saying this is like error code. We should
Yeah. So failed
specify.
precondition, I
Yeah,
can live with failed precondition. The internal, I'm a very
but that's
vehement.
okay. I just okay.
Yeah.
Ben, are you okay with this? Let's just make sure we're all on board
I
with
mean,
this one.
I agree that we should document the error and document what our stance is on how you should deal with it. I'm I don't like the idea that we're not going to provide a way to fix it.
But
I
then there
think
are
that
failed preconditions actually used in other CSI calls, right? Like the
yeah.
code expansion, right? There was a
But
like offline. I think it has to do with like offline expansion or something, right? So it's not.
but the point is the
Yeah.
remedy we can usually spell out somewhat explicitly.
We
Like
need to.
if you get this
Yeah.
error, then you go
What
do
you
this,
have to
this, and
do? Yeah.
problem goes away. Like
Right.
here,
Right.
it's just you go do something on your storage system that's
Right.
unspecified, and
Yeah.
that's what I object to.
No, but we'll have to write
The
that
same
out,
thing, right?
Ben.
As the like the word expansion thing, right? That's pre-filled precondition. The driver cannot fix it itself. It's not like you can just fix it. You have to go do something, or maybe it's just not supported. So you have to. It's not like what I actually still did not get your point, Ben. Are you saying it should always be driver should be able to fix all the errors, but there are errors that driver cannot fix, right?
Yeah.
I think I prefer a situation where if it's going to fail, there was a way you could know that in advance. Like
Hmm.
you could have queried something to say, is this supported?
So it's more like a capability, but well,
Something. I mean, I don't like capability bits either, but I mean,
then what is that? It's either capability you say use. So are you saying if it's supported, then then they must always be turned
Yeah.
on? I mean, that's what you mean. Otherwise, but there will be situations. It's actually this is
Yeah, no,
pretty normal case.
th-
Like
this is not a strong objection I
so
have. I mean,
because
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree
yeah,
that
yeah.
we need to just
Hmm.
have an escape hatch for situations where we can't do it right.
Yeah,
But like just in general, you really want to avoid,
yeah,
you
yeah. I
know,
see what you're
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
but it's just a
I agree, but there are some errors where we just cannot handle. For example, what if the storage system runs out of space? There's no predetermined way anyone can handle that other than go outside the system.
No, no. I would say CBT should never cause that to occur, right? The creation of the snapshot is the thing that would cause that to occur. So if you're going to run out of space,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
create
I'm talking
snapshot
in
call
general
should
for
fail, right?
specs. I'm talking in general for specs, not CBT. Yes, I agree.
But I mean, I I think it's worth thinking through all those. Like, what are the things that can cause CBT to fail? Like, this is one of
yeah.
them.
We
So
should
it's like,
think
yeah,
think
Yeah, this
more,
is one
right?
of
let's
them.
I
have an
think yeah,
error.
that's yeah. Just
Yeah,
want to
this is
make
one
sure we
of
don't
them.
miss
I
any. But
mean,
this is something that I think pretty normal people. I mean,
yeah,
background will
I
run
think
into that, right? Yeah.
this is a case which maybe VMware specific, but I think it's a real case in
This is
that
not
it's
VMware specific.
well,
But
most other systems, they don't do CBT on a per volume basis. They just do it on the storage subsystem. But in VMware, right, it depends very much on whether the node is set up for something as well as whether the FCD was used before. So it doesn't matter, right? I'm not against
No,
it.
but
It's a
it's still
valid
but
condition.
it's the same thing. Other vendor they can enable or disable it, the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not
yeah,
this is definitely not VMware specific.
I,
Okay. You're
I
right. They
like
can
that.
disable and enable. Yeah.
I like that it prescribes a remedy, which is just you have to do a full backup because you're not going to be able to do change block tracking because that's clear, right? That's
Yeah.
like, okay, at least for this one volume, you're screwed. You have to
Yeah.
fall back. Um, so okay, let's move on to the other one that you don't like.
So the internal, yeah, I don't know if yeah, this one also looks a little bit weird to me, to be honest. It's
So
more
this
like
one is
failed.
this one is literally internal to VMware. So I mean, the driver is free to return this as far as I'm concerned, but things like get metadata allocated and read the,
Internal check failed. No, no, this is it's also, I don't think this is like specific to VMware. This is still kind of, but I don't know if we actually call out internal errors. That's what my question.
yeah.
I don't think I see any internal error
Well,
code documented,
yeah. You
right?
never document internal errors. So what I'm
Kind
trying
of
to
weird,
understand
right? When I
is
look at this
there
one, I also, because
is there a condition
I also
that
found it,
VMware is trying to communicate that should be responded to differently than just retry? Because normally you get internal error, you just retry again, right?
Right.
yeah,
Um,
internal is it's kind of pretty, I mean,
Well,
normal thing.
I
That's
don't know.
why
Internal error is an escape in some sense, right? At least the application
yeah.
logs the darn thing and fails. I mean, something like that. And then
yeah,
let other people look at it. Yeah.
yeah. I
So
mean, you would want to audit it or get some administrator's attention. But
what? So
what I'm suspecting is because there's a limited number of gRPC error codes, that there's something real that they're trying to communicate here, and they couldn't find an error code, and so they just picked the internal one. So let's assume that we can come up with a different error code that means what they're trying to communicate. I'm trying to understand what this is. It says
the
should
internal
reset
check
CBT and
failed.
then try full backup. Does this imply that like CBT was working in the past, it no longer is working, but there's something that you can do to make it work again if only you do a full backup? Like I don't understand
Mhm.
This one is a
what the
little weird.
remedy
I don't
is.
know if should this also be a failed precondition? No, I don't know. I'm actually not quite answering this one myself. That's why I was asking that person to come here, but he could not join. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just want to,
I think the really important thing when you're documenting error messages is to document whether the application should retry the request or should stop retrying and do something else. And the
right.
implication here is that you should
This is
stop
also like stop
retrying and do
retrying.
something
Okay,
else.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
So
Yeah.
yeah,
so
failed
so if
precondition mean that. Yeah. Okay, so let's say this one I think meaning
Yeah,
uh
that one's okay, I think.
should stop retry, right? So I just want to add some notes here. Ooh. So this means
yeah,
flow
failed
should
precondition means
stop retrying.
it's probably never going to succeed.
Yeah, should stop retrying. Okay. So it sounds like this one is also like it will never succeeds. But the internal definitely is kind of weird code.
I mean, this one is like any other internal error. It's basically it's up to the subsystem to set aside some rules which can be some notes which can be audited.
I was wondering if you didn't
Well,
should driver also return failed precondition? I don't know. I was just wondering.
I mean, if they wanted to return failed condition, you could do so, but
So
they
I
call it
just want to ask
separate
what's
error.
the right thing to do. Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
sense or is think something else?
My advice to the VMware folks should be only return internal error if it's the kind of error which, when retried, might succeed the second time. Um, just from the application's perspective, like maybe an administrator needs to fix something, but like the application shouldn't give up because the administrator, someone who's managing the system can just fix it and then the problem can go away and then you're back in business. If they want to signal to the backup application, stop retrying and do something else, then we need a new error code that means that.
They probably should just return failed precondition. I don't know if they're actually
Yeah, but
error code.
failed precondition is not ideal because that implies that like there's some administrative operation you could have taken that would have caused us to succeed. And here they're saying that
reset.
something went wrong.
Some product.
Yeah.
I just don't know what is reset.
I don't know. So both of these things, what disturbs me is there's nothing that the application can do. If you look at the earlier ones, right? The earlier ones are due to, maybe some coding error with, would say discover and fix, right? And these are runtime issues, and there's really not much other than fall back to doing a full backup, which of course is not going to be helping if get metadata allocated doesn't work anymore. So yeah.
Well, so here, if the error from get metadata allocated or get metadata delta, the application should go back. Yeah, they're not saying what kind of error it is. So presumably they have 1,000 different errors that can occur internally.
I'm not sure if there was actually a proper because I think they look at all the GRP's error code and found this one to be maybe the one. I don't know what is the best way.
So they can always return an internal error, but they should not document it because the assumption is internal errors just happen and you retry, and a human being will eventually read the log and fix what the problem was. Right. But the applications should just keep retrying.
Yeah,
if it gets that.
Yeah. And Xing, you might want to note to them that if get metadata allocated fails, then even a full backup will likely fail. So, or they're going to do a dumb full backup where they're going to, copy all the unset blocks too.
Yeah, but they were saying in this case, normally just full backup should work because sounds like that's like the normal recommendation, right? So
I think the mistake on their part is that they're thinking that the backup application is in a position to quote unquote reset CBT. It's not. That is beyond the scope of a backup application. There is no API called reset CBT.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think that's what they try to say. Maybe this is
that's what they're saying, right? So I mean, I understand from a storage subsystem perspective, I could document this as something for an administrative user to do in case back applications report this error. But I wouldn't put that instruction for the application vendor in the API.
Yeah. The API docs are for a developer to consume. So will a developer?
Yeah, nobody. So well, CBT. Well, it is actually a backup vendor is the one that is set the CBT, right? So it is actually maybe that's what they were saying. This is the backup.
The backup vendor doesn't reset CBT. It's the customers who do it.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the backup. It's like backup configuration
setup.
Right?
Yeah, it's configuration setup, and configuration setup happens manually, and all the stuff runs automated in the background, right? So what can one do as a vendor, as a backup vendor here? Just report it. That's all.
It's just a configuration. It's like configuration as a part of a configuration, just like admin, some backup admin, maybe backup admin configuration. So I guess the wording is probably not right. It's not like application, but it's more like backup admin. When backup admin configure.
But that's assumed for every internal error, right? Whenever a backup application
Correct.
Yeah, this one is
it gets an error, it's
actually
just going to log it, and
weird.
then the regular thing will happen, and that's just the default.
Configure
Yeah.
backup, configure CPT. So yeah, so this one I actually kind of weird. So it's like they have to manually reset and backup.
I don't think they can tell us to say what to do for internal in general for every vendor in the existence. It's not possible. Internal
Yeah.
means something internal to the CSI driver. Why we can't put that in the spec?
No, I'm
Yeah.
not asking you to put everything. I'm just trying to understand. Like normally, what do people do in this case? Like
Right.
it's just the customer will just have to work with their admin to reset and then
Yeah.
backup restart
Yeah,
it.
the
I have
application will
something.
fail and
It's
emit a
almost
log
like
message, and
menu. It's like
people will.
menu. It's like
Yeah.
menu intervention, right? This is like menu intervention. Sounds like menu intervention. So okay. Okay, so this one, yeah. So okay, this one, yeah, I don't know if there was actually any proper gRPC code that is better than field precondition. So okay.
Well, I think we should communicate to the VMware team implementing this that they can return internal error, and the applications are expected to retry, log and retry. If they want a different behavior, pick a different error code and document it appropriately.
But the error code, well, a retry, it's in this case, it looks like retry does not work. They say
No. I mean,
reset.
if the human being reads the error message and says, "Oh, I need to go do something," and then they do it, and then the
Oh, I see what
backup
you're saying.
application retries, then it'll succeed, and everyone's happy. So the backup application, all it can do is say this failed, and I'm going to try it again later, and then let a human deal with it.
So basically, it's like more like admin menu intervention to reset CPT, then retry actually. So basically, it can still retry, right? So basically, like
Yeah. I mean, that's the default in Kubernetes is you always retry things to fail unless you're specifically told not to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what should be done. Yeah. I don't know if there's any like better error code other than internal. It's like it sounds like many things can happen.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the user can send a sig term in the middle of an operation, right?
Or a pod can get evicted. I mean, all sorts of things can happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, this one I will get some clarification, but yeah, okay, so this one we should
As failed
add
precondition,
this.
I think we can add some stuff here.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, let me add this doc in here.
So, but failed, okay, so just to clarify, failed precondition is for the CBT, the get metadata, the get metadata delta. Failed precondition, does it apply to get allocated blocks? Doesn't seem so.
Let's see. Oh, that one, because you are getting it's not like this is not necessarily. Oh, sorry, where is the
Yeah, you're looking at delta
get
errors.
delta,
Yeah,
get
you're looking
delta.
at delta errors.
Yeah. That's only for
Okay,
So
fair enough.
I think. Oh yeah, I think you have the same three error codes for two calls, right? Both calls get allocated.
Right, but I document them separately in case they could be
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Because this one does not seem to. Does it make sense for the first one? I'm
No,
also
it doesn't make
testing it.
sense it does not make sense for allocated. That's why I asked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because even the dumbest storage system can just report that all the blocks are allocated and call it a day.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I think this is for uneven get or get delta, get metadata delta. Get metadata delta. Okay. Number 4, get allocated. Get metadata allocated? What is the
Metadata allocated, yeah.
okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, all right. So I added the stock here. Let's say field precondition.
Yeah.
Excellence.
So we agree on adding fail precondition, right? Okay, that's
Yeah.
good enough.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So that's this one. Okay. You don't have any other topics for
No other
SVT, right?
status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I finally sent a mailing list update. So please use a new mailing list if you need to send anything. So I don't have any update for this replication group because I need to put together some doc and collect use cases. Have not done that yet, so there's a to do. Okay. Are there other topics today? If not, that's it for today. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.